Evgeny, is it correct that EU is against competition as the main driver behind progress?
Yes, we developed a society not obsessed with competition. So we forgot competition as one of our main core values and goals. And instead, we re-embrace the values that we had before. Solidarity, cooperation, engaging in activities that are not driven by expectations of profitability, for example. That took a while because the entire ideological and political infrastructure developed by neoliberalism, which has created all the mess we've been in, was there precisely to make competition the only value to be maximized within the political system. So undoing that took a lot of time, and we relied on three strategies.
So these strategies are solidarity as a discovery procedure, designing non-markets, and automated planning.
Can you talk about each one of them in more detail for us?
All of those strategies, in one way or another, were enabled by big data, digital infrastructure, artificial intelligence. So those three interventions took the form of designing non-markets, using solidarity as opposed to competition as a discovery mechanism of new things, of innovative practices, techniques of production, and of using and leveraging big data and artificial intelligence in order to produce and allocate goods in ways that were actually superior to those of the price mechanism and the market. So traditionally, the neoliberal dogma that ran us into the ground posited that the only way to uncover new things, to discover new inventions, to discover new scientific developments, was to essentially have entities compete with each other. So consumers had to compete with each other for better products, companies had to compete with each other for profit, and thus invest money into developing new tools of production, and all the good things that we had, so the capitalist theorists told us, came from competition. This is, of course, never how society worked to begin with. You know, in our everyday life, as we talk to each other, as we talk to our families, as we talk to our friends, we clearly invent new things, and we then try to bring them into existence.
So how did the digital help us?
Ultimately, we lacked the ability to scale up these kinds of interventions. We did not have the ability to have everybody engaged in this kind of exchange, and we did not allow people initially to act upon feelings of altruism or sociality that they might have experienced. With digital technology, it became possible to let them collaborate with each other and build all sorts of new incentive schemes and collaboration schemes that formalized these collaborations. This allowed us to discover new ways of running our societies and of essentially inventing our way out of disaster. That did not result in eliminating markets altogether. So you could still have markets, it's just that you need to decouple the idea of markets from the idea of competition. You can still have goods being sold. It's just that it does not need to be sold, because if you don't sell enough, you will be out of business and you will essentially have to close shop. That last part is a direct result of obsession with competition. And the last strategy that got us out of this mess was trying to design ways, which we have successfully done, of encouraging small producers, you can call them artisans, you can call them entrepreneurs, to take advantage of vast infrastructures like cloud computing, artificial intelligence, which have been turned from commodities that they were under the last stages of the capitalist system into the true public goods that they are now. And we've built a system where essentially people who used to build apps, who used to build various small contributions to the digital economy, they turned into true artisans who no longer were at the mercy of Google and Apple or Amazon. For the infrastructure, they used infrastructure as a public good. They could plan ahead, they could build a very robust artisanal business around these things, and they actually managed to produce things and to actually get incentivized to produce them without having to worry about what would happen if this big digital feudal overlord like Google or Amazon would be angry with them and would just close down their shop. So liberating them from the power of these big feudal lords was a very right move, but also creating new ways in which they can discover each other, work with each other in tandem, and produce goods collectively was also a very useful intervention. So with these three broader design interventions, if you will, and policy interventions into the design of the digital economy, a very different system came into existence. It happened partially because the ideas of a long-forgotten cybernetician from Great Britain, who spent quite a lot of time in Chile working with Allende in the early 1970s, where he discovered and actually provided a nice theoretical background to designing systems that were robust, that were decentralized, and that were actually tasked for dealing with complexity.
Thank you, Evgeny. Now back to the studio.